Hey, I'm back. I am going to be doing something different. Um, basically, I'm gonna be doing some. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones videos today, and I'm a book reader. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be doing something different. Going to do a little talking over Game of Thrones. I've seen some videos today. I'm going to try and you know see about doing some discussion, figuring out you know maybe doing some conversations if you guys want to broach a topic. Get deep in some Game of Thrones nerdiness. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into YouTube here. So I'll sit. Oh, wait, I'm gonna kill that fan. So just in case it was getting loud. But so I was, like I say, I was watching some YouTube videos for a while there, and kind of Game of Thronesy, just watching it, reminiscing. Hashtag spoilers. If you haven't watched the original series and you don't want to have any sort of like Game of Thrones universe. Ah, shoot. Ah, no, no, no. I didn't mean to do that. I accidentally hit one of my paddles. Trying to remember where the hell my volume button is. These were loud. So take two. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I'm if you pop in chat, you definitely join in the discussion, all that. So yeah. My main starting topic here is Ned Stark and the big secret about Jon Snow's parentage. So that's how like spoilery I'm thinking. So if you don't want to know anything, just go ahead and goodbye. Sorry there. So my questions are, okay, the equation, I'm sure y'all know, R plus L equals J. It's a fan theory for a hot minute, even before the end of season 8. Plus, the books and the TV show are completely different. I mean, there are characters in the books that don't exist in the show. And then there are characters in the book who have been either enhanced roles because their actor is so great and they're like, well, we're paying this person, what we gotta give them more storyline. And then they aged up some characters, which I think helps with modern day society. I mean, if you think about it, this is like medieval Europe time frame. So, you can pretty much say, marrying somebody that's like 12 whenever you're younger or even older wasn't anything weird back then. Now today, that's fucking gross. But I'm just saying, you know, for the time frame and the period of time that this story is sort of fantasized around, um, you know, uh, Sansa being like 12 whenever she, you know, is played on Marion Joffrey or something like that. Because, I mean, she literally, like, has her period. So she's young. I mean, and then with Hot D, you know, they fucked them kids all up. Hashtag spoilers for Hot D. You know, ages completely out of whack. Like Alicent and Rhaenyra aren't the same age. Like Alicent's like 15 years older than Rhaenyra, I think, something like that. 10, 15 years, I believe. So, you know, it's not like they don't fuck up ages and characters and lack of characters and changing of characters to fit their narrative because of them wanting to, you know, not spend as much of HBO's money. So, it is what it is. TV show, books, different. House of Dragon and Fire and Blood and Fire, different. So, it is what it is. I still enjoy the entertainment factor. I can complain. I can and I can discuss, you know, the differences, the benefits of the differences, or the short-sightedness of the changes. But you know, my first topic that I kind of got was like, you know what? I just need to go ahead and fucking like log on. This will be fair use because I'm going to be stopping and adding context and all that and all that and all that. So YouTube can, you know, whatever. So, Ned Stark, the man so honorable that he laid with a woman in wartime right after he was married to Cat. He knocked Cat up on their wedding night with Robb. So while Robert rebellion's going on, which I believe is 5 years. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I would have to look that up probably, but that's doesn't matter for context. So yeah, no, it wasn't that long. It's probably like a year or so. Because legitimately, by the time he came back, Robb was born. So, and then Ned comes back with a newborn baby. So, he makes up this story. I had a bad day. I knocked up this woman on the war, like the road of the war. So, but his wife's at home with a newborn baby. So he's going to come with his baby and be like, hey, yo, you know, oopsies, kind of like, I kind of fell and, my dick accidentally, impregnated this woman, while on the war campaign. So, you know, I mean, although I'm known as, like, you know, honest Ned Stark, loyal, oath keeper, Ned Stark, the Lord of Winterfell, currently, after his father and brother's death at the hands of the Mad King. Honorable Ned Stark lie with the woman in adultery and produces a bastard and brings it home to claim it as his bastard son, raised with his legitimate family. So, for those in the know, we all know how that story went in the show. So, Ned, I understand hiding. So I think there's I think there's 3 people that know the true identity of Jon. It's like Ned, Howland Reed, because he's the one that killed Sir Arthur Dayne in the Tower of Joy scenes. So, Ned, Howland Reed, and I'm not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure that Benjen Stark knows. I don't think Ned could hide that fact with Benjen. Now, I think Benjen knows. I don't think it's ever been officially revealed, or what everybody else's opinions on, that kind of, his interactions with him. I mean, because he goes and takes the black. Of course, he's also, I need to look up when Benjen took the black and how it correlates with the birth of Jon. I think he went before Robert's Rebellion, because he's already First Ranger by time that Jon and and the whole beginning of season 1. So them are the 3 people I know for a fact, or pretty sure, know the true identity of Jon. Now, calling him your bastard and taking him home to your wife, who's just with Babe also, and going, you know what? I'm your husband. Even though I'm coming bringing this baby, saying that I was unfaithful to you on the campaign of war, I want you to accept and help take care of this child that I wedded, or that I birthed, or that I helped create, according to what I'm telling you. I'm coming out front and be like, hey, yo, instead of Shaggy, it wasn't me, and making up some story about how his sister, died in pregnancy because she was raped by Rhaegar, no crazy story like that, because, obviously, Robert would fucking kill the kid. Yeah, obviously. So, I mean, it's not like, Robert's Hand of the King didn't, just kill the other Targaryens that they got their hands on. So yeah, I think Lyanna had a point. Robert would have killed the kid because he wanted Lyanna, but he didn't want him. So, I understand. I understand Ned coming home saying, you know, like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I brought it home. Like, I found a puppy on the road. Can we keep it? You know, type of vibes. And, you know, he grows up around the family. And he is like ostracized. He is, you know, he's a part of the family, but he's an outcast. He feels inferior to the other Stark children, even though, you know, he shouldn't, because the way that Ned wanted him to be raised. But Sansa was a bitch to him. Arya and him probably have the best relationship of the entire family. You know, Bran's probably like Jon, but he's probably indifferent. Rickon was too young. You know, poor little Rickon. So I understand not telling the children. That's a big secret. I mean, fucking Sansa couldn't even keep the fucking promise to Jon whenever he told her after Bran told him. She went and like fucking told Tyrion. I mean, I understand that she feels like, hey, he has a better claim. He is a different option. He is a better suitor. All facts. At least, especially how Sansa felt about Daenerys at the time. So, I understand not telling the children. I kind of understand not telling Jon for a while. But I don't understand why Ned doesn't tell Catelyn after, like, you know, like their third kid. Like, this is going to be like you don't trust her enough with this secret. You don't trust her enough. I mean, I mean, I don't know if I'm waiting. I mean, maybe like Arya, like being born time frame. You know, I will be like, hey, Cat, I need to talk to you. Now, before I start, you know I love you. And our marriage is a bond, and I need you to promise me that what I'm about to speak, you should not tell another human, one without my trust, like, you know, like without my leave, or if it's to tell the affected parties upon when it needs to be revealed, and I am not there to reveal. So, tell no one but the person affected unless you ask me. And I'm like, okay, because I need to be there. Because this is life or death. You know, I'm getting down with her and I'm like, hey, yo, listen, we need some straight talk. Do you trust me? Because I need to trust you. I need to tell you something that you can't repeat. Period. Basically, you know, John is Lyanna's son. I don't know if he could. I don't think he reveals the Aegon Targaryen to Catelyn. Maybe not. Maybe he just goes, it's not really my bastard. It's Lyanna's child with Rhaegar. And leave it at that. Leave it at that. No official, no unofficial. Just leave it at that. Whenever I found her, she had the child. She was dying from labor. She asked me to protect him and that no one should know that he is Lyanna and Rhaegar's child. Because she felt Robert would have killed the child. And that's where I would have left it. I mean, like, listen. You need to, like, at that point, or once, like, you know, I don't know, man. That's a crazy topic and discussion. Like, when would you tell her? Or would you tell her? That's the only other person I'm telling, besides John. And plus, you know, Benjen. Obviously, I already prefaced that with saying that I believed he already divulged that information upon coming back to Winterfell. So, what would you do? What? Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, interesting. What? How involved would you make, you know, everything? Who would you tell and when would you tell? Because like I said, I almost go like once I understood Catelyn was the real deal and she was kind of side-eyeing John and giving him that, like, oh, you're my husband's bastard that he brought home. I'm disgusted. Like, once that drama starts to, like, really, I would be like, hey, yo, listen, you need to quash all this hate on John. It's not his fault who his parents are. There are things I cannot tell you at this time. Or just say, hey, yo, listen, I got shit that I'm keeping from you. That you're hating on John needs to stop because the child has no power over who his parents is. And you don't know the full story to his parents. And, you know, it's like either it's like tell her then, or, you know, I would almost do it then. Be like, hey, yo, listen. like, treat the boy right. I mean, we can raise him as a, like, not a, like, official child, but we need to at least make him not hate being grown, like, hate, you know, potentially hate how you treat him. And that's what's going to happen if you keep treating him like doo-doo. So, I don't know. What y'all think? When would you tell Catelyn? Would you tell Catelyn? What would you tell Catelyn, and when, and how, and who else, and how else, and when would you tell Jon the truth? I think he waited too long. I don't think he should have told him. Like, he should have told him at a certain point, whenever he was, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe that was the right time to tell him, and he should have just told him, or like, I don't know. I would have told him and be like, listen. I mean, because he would have grown up a lot differently. Like, if I had my way. Because I would have straightened out Catelyn. I'd be like, hey, yo, listen. You can't be doing this shit. Kid doesn't deserve it. It's not his fault. And you don't know the whole story. That's why I hate that people hate on people for saying or doing things when they don't know the whole fucking story. You don't know what happened to that person before you ran into them at that particular time where you had your interaction with them. You don't know if, you know, their house caught on fire the previous day. They got, you know, separated. They got cheated on. Their kid fucking broke their leg. We don't know. It's like, that's how, like, people getting road rage and shit. I'm just like, I understand I get mad on the road, but shit, I usually just get mad for stupid driving. It's like, learn how to fucking drive, you know, or be a kind and courteous driver. Impatience drives me crazy. I mean, I drive fast, believe me. I want to get the fuck where I want to get, but don't ride in the fucking fast lane if you don't plan on turning left within the next mile. Should be illegal, should be a ticket. Technically is against the law in Indiana, but they don't really do it unless you're like on the interstate or open interstate or whatever. Should be everywhere. I mean, except for, like, you know, side roads and shit like that, obviously. But that's all I'm wanting to know right now. When would you tell, how would you tell, and who would you tell? So, comment down below, hit up in chat. I'll see you guys on the next question. Doing some little videos just in case I feel like releasing some direct YouTube comment or video type of thing. Get some hype for the channel, but so I love Shireen. She is such, I mean, okay, so I love Shireen. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I love, like, Arya. I love Jon. You know, there's a lot of characters that I love, that I root for, that I hope good things happen to. But I I I hate what they did to Shireen on the show. I mean, I understand George is like, Shireen gets burnt. He hasn't written that yet, but he apparently told them that in his, like, whatever you call it, like, rough outline of Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring, basically. Kind of like the Cliff Notes, major things that happen, and Shireen burning was one of them. Now, there are people on the web that say there's no way Stannis would have burnt Shireen. They state the fact that Shireen's technically still at Castle Black in the books. She doesn't go to camp with Stannis. And that's kind of where we leave that story in the books. Don't really know anything after that with regards to Stannis and Shireen and the battle for Winterfell, Stannis versus the Boltons. Don't know anything about that. Few things, but nothing like it kind of, we finished the story in the show, reportedly. So, in the books, Shireen's not in camp. So people say she couldn't get burnt by Stannis because he doesn't bring her. So she's not there to be offered. So, that, I mean, that's their argument. Do I agree with it? I don't know. I mean, I think that, Shireen could be brought to camp pretty fucking easily. Winterfell to Castle Black isn't that far. I mean, it's not like a 30-minute drive across the city of Indianapolis or something, It's nothing like that. But it's, definitely not going to King's Landing or, the fortnight that it takes or, going, it's probably going to take like 7 days, maybe 4 days, 7 days. I'm not sure. Probably an answer to that. But I do know it's not that bad. So, she could easily be summoned to camp. But beyond that, I hate Stannis for what he did. I hate being a Pisces Aquarius cusp. I hate it. I hate it. I get so emotional. I can't watch this video without crying. Facts. I could watch it 50 times in a row, try and desensitize myself to the sheer, like, brutality of it, but still will tear up whenever I hear Shireen like that. Or even thinking about it. So, but get it together, girl. So, so yeah, it's kind of like that. But she's just fucking like a kid born in privilege, but had all the fucking speed bumps. I mean, almost from jump. When she's born, she gets grayscale immediately. So she's disfigured. She's like Tyrion. I mean, but immediately, I don't know who is treated more poorly growing up. I almost have to say Tyrion, just on the fact that his father hated him too. Besides the hate that he got from his sister. He did get love from Jaime. So he got like double hate, but he got the love of his brother. Shireen, on the other hand, her mother treated her like shit. I mean, at least Tyrion, his mom died during childbirth. So, you know, there's that. So, at least, there's that. Because, I mean, the fact that her mother treats her that way, and plus the fact that she keeps those fucking other boys that are the dead fetuses, it's fucking weird. Fucking weird. Like, I understand, like, the attachment of losing a baby after, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, whatever, even 1 month. I mean, I understand the emotional attachment to the thought of the child and the potential of the child, but to put yourself in a place where you have to have basically the fetuses in a jar preserved, like fucking just like there on the shelf like they're a fucking trophy, is fucking sick. I mean, I understand grief and attachment and all of that, but this fucking weird, just ashes, all fine. Fucking pickled baby fetus. Fucking weird. Sorry, not sorry. Hashtag cancel me if you want. So, she treats Shireen like shit. Stannis does what he does. I mean, he kind of shows love, but he's hidden off. Because, it's like he's ashamed. I don't know if he's ashamed of himself for allowing her to get grayscale, and that's why he hides her. But I mean, it's just, he is like one of the most like characters in this story that I feel the most pain for their story. It's not even close. I love Jon. What happened to him? Fucking the next fucking episode was crazy. But I mean, but then he got brought back and all that. And then, oh, turns out, you know, I'm technically the heir to the throne if the Targaryen succession was still in line with the male primogeniture, like, inheritance. I think that's the word. I butchered the pronunciation of the middle word, or even if that's the right word. But I do know that since Jon is the son of Rhaegar, officially marriage and all that, he would technically be eligible for king before Daenerys. Now, time of succession, the way I would see it, that's a different topic. I need to stop this side tangent. But I love Shireen. It's brutal what Stannis did to her. I love how Davos treated her like a human, just like she treated him like a human being, and helped teach him how to read, help succeed and further himself. So Shireen by far is one of my favorite characters. But I'm gonna get off the topic of Shireen, because otherwise I'm gonna cry, and I don't want to do that. Not right now. But let me know in the comments or in chat what you think about Shireen's story and how did you feel. And if you're a book nerd, what do you think about Stannis, and does he burn Shireen like in the show? Does he do it like to try and save the battle for Winterfell? I've seen some theories that think that he is burnt for the long night. I don't think Jon and Daenerys would allow that to happen. And I don't think Stannis lives that long. I think Stannis dies where he died. I don't know if Brienne is the one that kills him, but I think Shireen dies. I think Shireen gets burned by Stannis. Basically, kind of like what the show showed. Certain details of it might be different, but I think Stannis, she basically was like, you know, let me help you and everything like that. I think that's what happened. But let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe. See you on the next video. Peace. So, one take, guys. One take. Hopefully I don't run out of fucking hard drives. I don't know how big my hard drive is, or how much room I had, or how much room I'm taking. But, fuck it. It's Saturday, baby. Oh, technically, I guess it's Sunday. It's 1 a.m., baby. Central Time. So, what side tangent did I just get onto a while ago that I said I should talk about later? So we were talking about Shireen, not Davos. Oh hell. Might go have to rewind chat. I got to rewind the stream to remember what the fuck I was talking about. Hold on, chat. Okay. May we're talking about yay, my Amazon package is shipped. Yippee. Yeah, so my Amazon package that is due on Tuesday, I think. At least the last time I looked at the update, but it apparently got shipped. So, on my, I got one of these like little microphone deals that I could plug in, and it does a decent job. I wouldn't mind to have this thing somehow connected, and like get a mixer, because this USB side I have to convert that from digital to analog, but there are ways of doing that. So, what I got, and because I was trying, because I'm thinking about playing some Warzone and Call of Duty. Might be buying BO6 whenever it comes out in November, but I'm debating on buying Modern Warfare 3, and I have Warzone downloaded where I could do certain things for free. I'm bad at it. Let's get that out of the way. Like the whole like dual analog sticks, I got to get used to. I don't know how my sensitivity should be rated. You know, it's going to be a struggle. I do have a mouse and keyboard set up where if I feel the need, I could try the mouse and keyboard on PlayStation 4, which, I mean, I'm sure that'd be trolly AF. But that is an option if I feel the need that the controller's not going to work, because I do have the 4 back panels. So, you know, that can help. I do need suggestions for the back button programs. What are the best back buttons? I'm thinking like jump and slide, so I can do the, you know, damn it, the slide cancel for movement. I mean, I'm bad at Call of Duty, but I know how to slide cancel. But I looked up that shit on YouTube a long time ago. But it's not the first time I played, but I didn't play that much. and I just kind of quit. There's the other time that I started kind of streaming a little bit, but I didn't stream that much because, whatever. So I do need suggestions on what you guys think on my 4 back panel buttons, what they should be. But what I'm getting, so I want to do push to talk, but fucking PlayStation 4 doesn't do push to talk. Why the fuck not? I don't know. But it's not in there. It's not in the menu. So I don't want to have a open mic and be like that person that's basically streaming off of their PlayStation or their Xbox, and what they're saying in game chat is what they're saying to live chat, and it's not the ability to easily silence yourself on game without just turning off your F9 in the lobby or whatever, or turning off prox chat or whatever. So I got this little this little mic thing that basically I plug that microphone into, and then I plug that into there, and it's got a switch on it. So you turn on and off the mic. I'm hoping that it's an easy enough switch that I can, easily manipulate it. With my thumb or whatever. Whenever I need to open the mic or close the mic. It's gonna be a clip, hopefully. Might end up try and modify it if I need to maybe try and put a more straight edge to it that I could maybe hit easier. I don't know, but it's not here yet. We'll figure that out when we figure it out. That's probably when I'll start really playing some Warzone, try and get some of my aiming and all that. So next Game of Thrones verse topic. So what I'm thinking after kind of talking about Shireen here and the death of Shireen and how brutal that was, we kind of spun off, and I had a little discussion about who had it worse. Tyrion or Shireen as a baby, child, growing up as a child of a I don't know what's Stannis would be Warden of the Stormlands. Right? And then Tywin would be Warden of the West at that time, because he was Hand of the King around the time that Tyrion was born and his wife died. Because there's fan speculation theory that Tyrion is really the Mad King's kid. I'm sure Tywin would enjoy that theory, because he would want to have the first piece of evidence to be able to disclaim Tyrion that he could as fast as he can. But who had the worst life growing up? Tyrion or Shireen? Shireen's mother hated her. As I discussed in the prior video, her mother was weird. Baby fetuses in pickle jars is weird. I understand grief and all that, but that's what ashes are for. You know, the pickle jars with babies, like underdeveloped babies or late term babies that miscarried. I think it's weird. But who had the worst life? Is there another person like growing up? I am, you know, John, you know, protected his whole life by being lied to or being misled. I don't know if I really want to say it, lying. Just absence of telling him the truth and misleading him with disinformation, hashtag fake news. So, and then Daenerys, her growing up wasn't that. I mean, at least she, you know, was protected. You know, nice tropical weather in Pentos. You know, and all that. But her brother was a fucking brutal person, and he was cruel and unusual. Like, he deserved to die. I'm glad he died and glad he suffered the way he did, because that dude was a monster, and he definitely, that coin flipped was definitely on the bad side for him. So I don't know. Discussion, you know, that's what this is for. Who had the worst childhood in Game of Thrones universe? I think the top two, like I said, are Tyrion and Shireen. Tyrion, his father hated him. His mother's dead. His sister hates him because his mother is dead. His brother loves him, but also uses him as his, like, entertainment, kind of, because what he did with the marriage was cruel. But what he does to Tyrion is far from anything that, like, Cersei had done, or that Tywin had done. Just belittling him and, you know, just trying to delegitimate him at every turn and chance you can. And, you know, and then he's a dwarf, and he's a disfigured dwarf, but he is in public. He is not in a room in the basement or in an area that nobody else really goes to, hiding away from the public eye. Tyrion, like he was in King's Landing, all that. He was visual. He's a very confident person. He at least was raised to a point where he wasn't hidden. Shireen Dragonstone, or yeah, Dragonstone, I guess. Storm's End. But I think he gave Storm's End to Renly and Dragonstone to Stannis because the heir gets Dragonstone in kind of the way that the Targaryen succession went. So I can understand why Stannis is at Dragonstone instead of Storm's Keep. But that had to have been like, that's a family thing. I don't care if I'm heir, like I don't know. But who had it worse? Shireen. Since, I'm going to guess almost her whole life has been in Dragonstone. I mean, she may have been closely born on Storm's End. I'm sure that's an easy Westeros Wikipedia type of search. But so she's hidden. Her mother hates her. Her father is kind of distant, but he somewhat shows kindness. Davos is probably the best person that treated her the best amongst her family. I mean, better than her family. He's not really family, but I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for Shireen, but let's figure out this discussion. Go ahead and leave it in chat. Leave it down below in the comments. Love seeing you guys. Stick around for the next topic. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces, people. So, I kind of remember the topic. And it's about Jon. So, kind of related to the whole Jon, who he really is, and the succession. So, generally, the Westeros was male primogenial succession. I believe I pronounced it right this time. I might have butchered it in the prior videos. And I believe that is the correct phrase. Thanks to useful charts. So Mad King dies in the throne room after the siege of King's Landing by Tywin Lannister, after the Mad King allows him inside the Red Keep gates on the advice of the master of what is Pycelle? Like, I know he's a maester, but what's the title? Isn't there? Because I know, like, I can't remember. But anywho, so Pycelle convinces him, "Oh, you can trust Lord Tywin. There's nothing that he's here to help defend the city against Robert and those tyrants. He used to be your hand, remember? You could trust Lord Tywin," he says, even though he probably knew that it was all a farce. So Tywin's forces come in the Red Keep, and they sack the city. They rape, they pillage, they kill the princess wife of Rhaegal, or former wife of Rhaegal, or and the babies, his heir Aegon, and then the daughter. So Mad King, I think, is still alive. Maybe whenever the babies are killed. And if anything, it's within like an hour or two of each other. Either way, Mad King first, babies first. Doesn't matter. They're dead within an hour of each other. Rhaegal is killed on the Trident by Robert at the Ruby Forge, or Ruby Fork, or whatever they call it. With the Trident. And I would assume that was before Tywin went to King's Landing. So, because Tywin's not going to pick a winner until he knows. And I think at that point, he's like, okay, Robert beat Rhaegal at the Trident. Shit's written on the wall. So Robert kills Rhaegal. I think then Tywin sacks the King's Landing. The babies are killed. The kings are killed. So son, I think the son, Rhaegal died first, so the heir is the baby. Now, if the baby's murdered first, which I think, then it passes to his eldest son at the point in time, which is the brother with Daenerys. Because the way it seemed is Jon is born in Dorne after all this. Because when Ned and Howland Reed and other people went to find Lyanna, and he tells Sir Arthur Dayne, like, you know, where were you at the Trident? We looked for you. We didn't find you. Why didn't you protect your prince? All this, all that. Prince is dead. Your king is dead. Where were you to protect them? So this is after the war. Ned's finding Jon. Or Ned's finding Lyanna. Thus finding Jon. So at that point, if he's considered official, he's the heir to, after his uncle, the one that's with Daenerys at the beginning of the season 1. Yes. So once he gets killed or dies after Khal Drogo gives him a crown, then technically Jon would be heir at that point above Daenerys because of the male dominant succession that would have been represented during that time frame of time. Because we all see what happened in House of Dragon with the Great Council 101 and Rhaenyra versus Aegon the Third. Is that right? Or Aegon the Second? Aegon the Second. Aegon the Third is Rhaenyra's kid. Hashtag spoilers. But it's kind of what I was thinking there. But yeah. So Jon would be heir after the brother died with the crown from Khal Drogo. But so yeah, keep the discussion down below. Comment and chat. Comment in the comments. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next question. Deuces. So, I'm hoping this shit's recording right. So, anybody sitting around, hanging out? I totally forgot to put up my my chat count thing. Darn it. How he thinks it should have ended. I do kind of not like how it ended, but I do maybe want to like I kind of have watched some of the content of the fan fiction with Preston Jacobs. His favorite character is, I think, Robin. Or that's not right. Like the Erie's kid. Fuck is his name? Isn't it Robin? But he does I wonder if he has a playlist of his fan fiction, or if it's that's kind of like another theory about because like he went to Dorne and they say he like fell in love with that's like Sarthor Dane's brother or sister, I mean, and whenever he went to no fuck, where the fuck is Sarthor Dawn from? It's down in Dorne, but whenever he went to tell her and gave like the sword and stuff, she supposedly like committed suicide they say jumping off. Then they also say that somehow she's John's mother, and it's still, yeah, but I think that's kind of um um I would kind of like to see a extenuation of Arya's story. I think that would be kind of interesting, with regards just what, you know, it almost looks like a Skywalker kind of image. I don't know why. It just kind of looked like Leia a little bit randomly. Marcel. Yeah, that was kind of a fucked up ending of a story too in the show, with how they killed off Princess Marcel. And then the fact that they didn't have like Lady Stoneheart in the show, which I kind of understand. They're like, you know, it's kind of a revenge side quest story with the Banners Without Brothers kind of, and a lot more ruthless, and but what? Anybody got any topics they like to discuss with Game of Thrones universe? Just throw it in chat. Got a video search suggestion. We could take a look. And I'm almost kind of curious if I could do kind of like a series where I rewatch everything on Game of Thrones, and instead of like reaction, it's more like a context kind of conversation where, you know, like say like here, let me go back to search. Let's go. Fuck, hold on. Hold on. Let's see. I want to find the longest version of this. 320. 320. 320. John in various scene 320. Still think that's going to be my best video length. Hopefully, there's not too much of their comments. Okay, so what I'm saying, like context, like saying why we're watching this, like during the, like if I was actually watching the show, I can point out the fact that he's basically writing ravens right now, trying to tell the other lords of Westeros that there is another choice for ruler of Westeros that isn't Daenerys or Cersei. Obviously, Varys has given up on supporting Cersei. And at this point, he's given up on Daenerys. Now, Tyrion tells him after after Sansa tells Tyrion, excuse me. So, he's basically like going, hey, yo, there's another option. And he's technically got a better claim because he's a man, which is fucked up. But that's society. I love this scene. Well, not this scene, but the next one. This is the girl from the kitchen.
Come in.
One of his little birds.
And? Nothing.
It's like Daenerys isn't eating because this is right after her second dragon gets killed.
We'll try again at supper.
You know, by
I
Euron.
think they're watching me.
Who?
So she's
Her soldiers.
in grief right now.
Of course they are.
Because I mean, she was in grief whenever she lost Viserys.
What have
Or-
I told you, Martha?
Whatever the fuck the
Greater the
dragon's
risk,
name is.
the greater the reward.
But
Go on. They'll be missing you in the kitchen.
John's dragon, basically, losing it, her second dragon, was really brutal. And this is right after that happened. So her state of mind right now is really, really fucked up. And she is going to make people burn.
The northern armies?
Just crossed the Trident. They'll be at the walls of King's Landing in 2 days.
And this is before Melisandre,
Oh,
or not Melisandre, I mean
Haven't
Miss
seen
Sunday.
anyone since we returned.
Because Miss Sunday
Left her chambers,
breaks
except for heavy
Daenerys.
food.
She shouldn't be alone.
You're worried for her. I admire your empathy.
Aren't you worried
Yeah,
for her?
John is what a king or a ruler should be. Somebody that takes on that duty more as a burden of service or a burden of honor and dignity than a power grab. This is what's wrong with modern, current day political people. Most of them are in it for themselves or the people that can make them wealthier in favor of helping them the best way they can by their power in office. So,
Worried for all of us. They say every time a Targaryen is born, the gods...
and this
cross
is
a
where
line
he's doing
and the
a drop saying,
Much for riddles where I'm from.
We both know what she's about to do.
That's my queen.
That's her decision to make. She is our queen.
Men decide where power resides, whether or not they know.
This is treason.
What do you want?
All I've ever wanted. The right ruler on the Iron Throne.
I don't want it.
I still don't know how her coin has landed.
I'm sure
I'm
as
quite
hell,
certain about yours.
because I know who the fuck you are. This is treason.
I don't want it. I never have.
That makes you the perfect candidate. It's facts. The king that rules for duty or honor and not for self-righteousness or self-perpetuation is the best kind of ruler, in my opinion.
I have known more kings and queens than any man living. I've heard what they say to crowds and seen what they do in the shadows. I have furthered their designs, however horrible. But what I tell you now is true. You will rule wisely and well whilst...
Yeah, like I said, the person that doesn't want power and wields power more justly and more honorably, generally. But definitely, he is the better option for throne. Varys sees it. In all reality, Tyrion sees it. Sansa sees it. The only people who don't see it are Daenerys and her people, besides Tyrion and Varys, and Jon himself.
She is my queen.
Yeah, Varys is like, oh shit. I don't think this is going to end up going good for us. Because he basically, you know, was like, basically like, this is treason. But it's like,
we will storm the city, my queen. We will kill your enemies. All of them.
Your Grace, I promised you I would look you in the eye and speak direct.
yeah, it's like, if you're like going back to, it's like her previous conversation with him whenever he first kind of joined her party, and she's like, you know, you've worked with so many kings and you plotted and worked and snaked and connived and all that jive for them and secretly against them. The way that you're saying, you went, you know, you were team Tommen, you were, you know, team this and team that, and then you kind of like left Cersei once Tyrion kind of did his thing. Then you kind of went Jon and Daenerys, and you know, it's just, or Daenerys and then Jon. You know, once you saw Daenerys, like, you know, she could be a little bit crazy, but I sure know, like, you know, he's like, I know how you came out because you seem to be a decent person because of what you've done already. You know, he freed the wildlings. He brought the wildlings south of the wall to save them from, you know, death. You know, he helped defeat the Night King. I mean, he didn't really have great hands in it, but you know, he helped with everything, and he's an important figure of the story. But it's kind of funny.
If I ever thought you were making a mistake. This is a mistake.
You saw my child fall from the sky. They took Missandei.
Cersei needs to
Okay,
be destroyed.
this is after.
But if we
Okay, so
withdraw-
Miss Sunday happened before the Dragonfall. Forgot the order of that. I thought it was the other way. So yeah, she's already broken. She's broken. She's about to go ham on King's Landing.
Drogon and the Unsullied and the Dothraki. Tens of thousands of innocents will die. That is why Cersei is bringing them into the Red Keep. These are the people you came here to protect. I beg you, Your Grace, do not destroy the city you came to save. Do not become what you have always struggled to defeat.
Do you believe we're here for a reason, Lord Varys? I'm here to free the world from tyrants. That is my destiny. And I will serve it no matter the cost.
Interesting, but totally just, you could tell, like the Miss Sunday scene, once the Mountain beheads Miss Sunday, just it's over from there for Daenerys.
It could be a fortnight before Jon and the allied armies make it to King's Landing. In the meantime, demand Cersei's surrender. Offer her her life in exchange for the throne.
If there's a chance to avoid the coming slaughter, we should make the effort.
Yeah, but Daenerys right now is in a bad state of mind. She just, literally she lost her closest, probably best friend, like assistant. I mean, Missandei's like basically like her like number two, kind of. I mean, she's not the warrior type. She's not the protector type. I mean, she's like her girlfriend, but like, assistant. And, but I loved Missandei. That was cool. That whole her and Grey Worm story was kind of cool. I wish they could have been and like ran off and be able to live, happily ever after type of story. But
Speaking to Cersei will not prevent a slaughter. But perhaps it's good the people see that Daenerys Stormborn made every effort to avoid bloodshed, and Cersei Lannister refused. They should know whom to blame when the sky falls down upon them.
yeah, it's still. I don't know why why she just can't, like, once you destroy the armament, Daenerys had no reason to break, especially the bell tolls and all of that. Let's see here, what is damn it, what Miss Sunday, Like, this is the moment that Daenerys loses it. It's like she already hates the fact that she lost her dragon. Dragon's already dead. I'm pretty sure dragon's already dead. Or it might be after this, but I'm pretty sure it's already done. She all like, oh, look at the power I have. I'm got people, you know, drawing bows to a dwarf that's my brother that's approaching with no visual, like, weaponry exposed, like, you know, to something that you're kind of being a party for the pre-battle type of thing. So that's kind of like a guess thing, especially if you agree, or to what's the word? Fuck it. Kind of what Jon did with the King Beyond the Wall, when he's like, you know, like, hey, listen, like, we need to, like, get a ceasefire going here, you know. Off tangent, like, how the fuck do these people get away with playing almost 5 minutes of direct HBO content without getting some sort of stupid blocked notice? Because they're not stopping this shit or adding context.
I know you don't care about your people. Why should you? They hate you, and you hate them.
Facts.
You're not a monster.
No, yeah. Tyrion, that's where you're wrong. She is a monster.
I know this. I know this because I've seen it. You've always loved your children
That is facts.
more than yourself.
Uh,
More than anything. I beg you,
for your child.
not for yourself, then for your child. The reign is over. But that doesn't mean your life has to end.
Doesn't mean that your life has to end.
Doesn't mean your baby has to die.
Why does she have like this, like, Night King look right now with that angle? And Daenerys is like, come on, bitch. Test me. I'll go get Drogo right now. Grey Worm got that constant, like, resting bitch face going right there. He's like, scrunched up. Be nice to say your last words. She's like, I would say your last words. Jacarius!
If you have any last words, now is the time.
I love how deep she is. She's like, Jacarius! Grey Worm's like, oh, this bitch. Don't leave me. I love you. Dany's like, oh my god. What's gonna happen? Like, burn them. Burn them. This is where Daenerys loses it. This is where her mind breaks. This is where she becomes the Mad Queen. Sorry, not sorry. Still love you, Dany, but this shit broke you. That shit broke Dany. Kind of broke Grey Worm, but Dany, right there. That face. That face, she's like, this bitch. I can't wait till I get home and go get my nuclear submarine, jet, airplane, or whatever. And I'm coming back. And we about to drop some nukes. That's what she thinking. She's like, yeah, I'm getting my fucking revenge, bitch. You not gonna kill my BFF like that and not expecting me to come back. I can't wait until everyday Negroes get up to this point. Like, currently, they're like season 5, episode 6 or 7. I think episode 6 they just finished. So, they got a while. But, it's like one... Going back to a prior conversation, the Shireen death fucking kills me. And I think Addison and Brandon will fucking lose their mind. And because that's season 5, episode 9. And they're on 6 right now. So I think it's like 3 more episodes. Or it could be 5-8. But I think it's 5, episode 9. But basically, it's the episode before Jon dies. So it's like a double gut punch. But the Shireen death is like so much more brutal. I mean, this Missandei death here is crazy. Hands down, but, you know. This is after she done went fucking crazy. And is this when the dragon wings like come up from behind her? Or has that already happened? I think it's about to happen. It's like she turns around. Nope. Nope. Arya just snuck up on motherfuckers.
What are you doing here? Hey, what happened?
I came to kill Cersei.
Mm-hmm.
Your queen got there first.
She's everyone's queen now.
Nah.
Telling Sansa.
Try to tell it, Sansa. That's the facts. Sansa does not trust Daenerys. And especially after this, she ain't gonna trust her more than she can fucking throw her. But she probably couldn't throw her very far because she has a fucking dragon.
Wait for me outside the city gates. I'll come find you.
Jon.
Your life is in
She knows
danger.
who you are. Who you really are. You'll always be a threat to her.
This is kind of going off to the tangent where with House of Dragon, where Rhaenyra, whenever she's named heir, but afterwards the king and Alicent have Aegon, and his entire life growing up, his grandfather's telling his mom, like, hey, if Rhaenyra is going to be queen, she's going to kill your son because some people would like to have him because of the male thing. Even though she was named heir. And the king never reneged on that. It's only with the scheming of Otto and the convenience of stupidity of Alicent with regards to the king's dreams and incoherent conversations like of the night of his death, where he talks about the prince that was promised and all that, where he thinks he's talking to Rhaenyra, but he's talking to Alicent, and she totally misunderstands what he says. She's probably more projecting what she wants him to say and grabbing what she can get to try and squeeze her scenario on him, because she was very much the same way. Like, she's gonna fucking kill you if you're a challenge to her. And I really don't think she would have. She could have ruled, and then he could have, ruled after, according to. Well, I mean, also the whole strong boys didn't really help her case with legitimacy of the succession after her. Which, I mean, the Dance of Dragon kind of takes care of that, with all three of the strong boys dying. And we already know about Luke. Jace is next. And then the youngest. Actually, the youngest is next. Is the youngest next? No. Has to be Jace next, and then the youngest is last. Because, yeah. Because Rhaenyra loses her shit whenever Joffrey dies. But
And I know a killer when I see one.
yep, she does. This is where Jon kills Daenerys, I guess. I love how they take his sword, but he has a fucking dagger. Oh, okay, he's talking to
Did you
Tyrion.
bring any wine?
No.
I thought he was doing the Daenerys already.
Well,
He had already thrown away his
thank you
hand.
for coming to see me. Our queen doesn't keep prisoners for long. I
Yeah.
suppose there's a...
Yeah, she doesn't keep prisoners long, because she should have kept the Tarly father and Rick Dickon.
crude kind of justice. I betrayed my closest friend and watched him burn. Now Varys' ashes can tell my ashes. See? I told you.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Tyrion, because your ashes
What's occurred to
are
you?
not made yet.
I'm talking to the only man alive who knows where I'm going. So is there life after death?
I didn't see anything.
Not that I've seen.
I should be thankful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Motherfucker. Keep on bumping the controller. Put it on the footstool. Yeah. So, poor Lord Varys. He's writing more letters about Jon, like he was earlier. Earlier, it was the little bird. This one, he's like, oh shit, I'm not expecting anybody now. So let me go ahead and burn this shit before I get caught with it. He's like, let me go ahead and get ready because I'm about to get handcuffed. Because Tyrion snitched on me. Remember when I told you we first met, Lord Varys, that if you decide to betray me, you would tell me to your face? Varys, you're a real G-man. Tyrion kind of fucked up here.
It was me.
I hope I deserve this. Truly, I do. I hope I'm wrong.
Poor Varys.
Goodbye.
Tyrion, you fucked up, man. You fucked up, Tyrion. Just man. You think you like somebody that's willing to put their neck out for you after you kill your dad, you know, do a favor, get you away from King's Landing, finds out you killed your dad, still decides to take you. You end up getting yourself fucking kidnapped by Jorah. But then at this point, you're not seeing the big picture. Tyrion, man. I think this is where
Lord
she...
Varys,
When I first met
Archelaus
you...
of House Targaryen, first of my name, breaker
Maybe
of
not.
chains and mother of dragons. Sentence you to die.
Dracarys.
Dracarys.
Fucking nice and close and crispy Ward Varys. Hold the ball sauce. Brutal. This whole death of Jaime and Cersei is I don't like how the show did that one. Especially kind of they left out a lot of the Maggie the Frog prophecy with regards to Cersei's death. Because they kind of leave that a little bit more open-ended in the Maggie the Frog scene. Oh, come on. Yeah. The code open. This is like season 5 code open. Yeah. I just watched this on the
We shouldn't be out here
channel I watch
Why not? If your
recently.
father, he'll never know we're gone. But if he finds out,
So, interesting fact, in the book, they both get their future told to them by the Woods Witch. And basically she tells her that basically, bitch, you about to die. Basically, like you have no future, you know, type of thing. And Cersei kind of,
you don't need to be
from
afraid
what
of my
we
father.
understand, that Cersei kind of has something to do with it. Because she was jealous of her. Because of the way she felt about Jaime. Because I think it happens in this scene too, where she kind of says, like, basically, because she's like, you know, well, I married Jaime. And Cersei's just like, bitch, don't talk about my brother like that.
Are you sure?
That'd be a cool ass house to like have though.
We shouldn't go in. Of course we should.
Out in the middle of the woods. Little log cabin. As long as it had internet, I would be cool. But they leave out part of the end of the Maggie the Frog prophecy. A lot of it that she says is true, or the same. Like, gold will be their crowns, gold will be their shrouds. The 20 plus 3 or 20 plus 1, and you 3.
Get out. Get out!
Let's go. No.
Listen to your friend.
They said that you were terrifying. With cat's teeth and 3 eyes. You're not terrifying.
My brother is a lot more
You're
terrifying.
boring.
You don't know what I am.
I know you're a witch. And you can see the future. Tell me mine.
Everyone wants to know their future.
Until they hear it.
Know their future.
This is my father's land. My land. Tell me my future, or I'll have your 2 boring eyes gouged out of your head.
Yeah. Oh, she's like, oh, really? You want to know that bad? Cool, child. Hold my beer.
Blood
Creepy as fuck. Ask her questions.
3 questions you get. You won't like the answers.
I've been promised to the prince.
No,
When
you will not marry them. You won't.
With the prince. You're with the king.
But I will be queen.
Oh, yes. You'll be queen
Until another,
for a
a
time.
more younger,
And
what she
coming up,
thinks is Marjorie.
younger,
Well, originally she thinks is Sansa,
to cast you down.
then Marjorie,
Call you old dear.
then Daenerys.
Will the king and I have children?
No, the king will have 20 children. And you will have 3.
That doesn't make sense.
Gold will be their crowns.
Gold will be their crowns. It's like gold will be their crowns, so it's like they'll be, you know, 2 of them are kings, and all of them die.
Their shrouds.
Gold will be their shrouds. And then she goes on more in the books
We have to go.
about how. Here, hold on. So that's the TV. They totally leave the back part off. Let's here see if I can find a book version. Are they?
In A Song of Ice and Fire, there exist various different prophecies, all claiming to foretell the future of the world of A Song of Ice and Fire and that of its various characters.
Hey guys, don't forget to go check out this video yourself. Channel Facto Mundo. If you help spread everything.
Some of these you probably have heard of.
Popularity and all that.
For instance, there's the prophecy about Azor Ahai, as well as Quait's prophecies about Daenerys. And then there's even the Dothraki prophecy about the stallion that mounts the world.
The stallion that
But in
mounts the
Feast for
world.
Crows, we learn of a particular prophecy foretelling the
Prince
destiny
that was
of a
promised.
singular character. This, of course, is the prophecy foretold by Maggie the Frog.
Oh,
born
that
as
one.
Cersei Lannister. In A Feast for Crows, we are introduced to Maggie's prophecy during one of Cersei's point of view chapters. As Cersei comes to terms with the deaths of both Tywin and Joffrey, along with her newly gained position of power, she becomes overly paranoid about those who she claims are attempting to undermine her. Her paranoia and fears cause her to often ruminate on her past. And through this, we learn that a lot of Cersei's actions and beliefs regarding the Tyrells and her brother Tyrion stem from this very prophecy told to her as a young girl. In regards to Maggie the Frog herself, she originally hailed from the east, arriving in Lannisport as a young woman with her Westerosi husband. Apart from this, however, we know little else of Maggie. Even her true name remains a mystery, and Maggie was likely a bastardization of the word Magi. Which brings to mind Mirri Maz Duur, as she too was known to be a Magi, and a very powerful one at that. Mirri Maz Duur supposedly hailed from Asshai, as do Melisandre and Quaithe, 2 other very mysterious women with supposed magical abilities. So it would not be surprising if Maggie herself originally comes from Asshai, a region long
It makes
with magic and prophecy.
Yeah, Maggie and Magi makes sense for sure. I can see that being like a way of it being like telephone, like a game of telephone, just changed from Magi to Maggie the Frog. It'd been like Magi the Frog type of thing, but who knows?
Regardless of Maggie's origins, however, her reputation in Westeros soon gave her great notoriety, eventually intriguing Cersei enough for her to make an effort to seek her out. Now, it's important to note that prior to Cersei's meeting with Maggie, she had become slightly enamored, obsessed, with Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. According to
think?
Cersei, when she was just a little girl, no more than 6 or 7, her father had promised her that she would marry Rhaegar. And so it was with the knowledge of the possible marriage.
Yeah,
Prince
but then the
Rhaegar,
Mad
along with
King
the
kind
combination
of
willfulness and
it's like,
curiosity,
hey, wait a minute, you're
Cersei
trying to get too
visited
much power.
Maggie the Frog on that fateful day. Maggie allowed both girls 3 questions each. And naturally, the first order of business for Cersei.
I don't like how they
was to
cut out the
marry
friends
Rhaegar
questions.
himself. When will I wed
You won't.
Never. You will wed the king, Maggie replied. This, of course, confused Cersei at the time, and she reveals that for years she had assumed that the words meant that she would not marry Rhaegar until after King Aerys had died.
Yeah.
At the time, though, a confused 10-year-old Cersei couldn't really help herself. I will be queen, though. Queen you shall be until there comes another.
Younger, more beautiful, to cast you down, take all the oh dear.
Maggie replied, which then left Cersei with one final question. Will the king and I have children? Oh, aye, 6 and 10 for him and 3 for you.
16.
Gold shall be their crowns and gold their
Go
shrouds. And when your tears have drowned you, Valonqar shall wrap his hands around your pale white throat.
Which Valonqar in Valyrian means like little brother or little sister, since Valyrian is gender neutral. They don't really have a, it could mean both. It's like the prince that was promised can technically be the princess that was promised.
And choke the life from you. Some pretty bold statements to make, but as you could guess, Cersei didn't find them too appealing at the time. Her friend Melara, however, was still eager to ask.
And then Jaime is the little brother, too, because
not Jaime nor any other man. Worms will have your maidenhead. Your death is here tonight, little one. Can you smell her?
Right here.
She is very close. Now,
That's
we
death.
learn that Melara does indeed die soon after the foretelling, apparently by
Yeah.
falling down a well, but it's heavily implied that
By
it's actually
Cersei.
pushed Melara down the well. Now, unlike Cersei at the time of the foretelling, we have a bit of hindsight regarding Maggie's words. For instance, Maggie's reply to Cersei's first question is obviously referring to Robert Baratheon. As
Yeah.
we know, Prince Rhaegar was killed during the
Yep, he was already.
leading Robert to
He's
become
already
Lord of the
gonzo.
Kingdoms, soon after which Cersei and Robert were wed. The answer to Cersei's second question, however, is not so obvious, and
yeah,
this is our first
could be
clue.
Sansa. Could be Sansa. Could be, or she could. She could interpret it to be Sansa. She can interpret it to be Marjorie, which I think that's who she thinks it was, and like why she basically was so hard on her during that whole part with the Sept and the Faith Militant and all that. But yeah, and then obviously Daenerys.
Who is the younger and more beautiful queen, and how will she cast Cersei down and take all that she holds dear? But it's the third and final question, will the king and I have children, which produces the most interesting reply. What's remarkable here is that Maggie not only manages to accurately predict the number of bastard children Robert would have as well as how many Cersei herself would have, but she also makes a point of distinguishing two separate issues and therefore foretells Cersei's relationship with Jaime. What's even more significant, however, is that although Cersei's 3 questions are up, Maggie is not done speaking and goes on to foretell the deaths of Cersei's children, as well as Cersei's death at the hands of the Valonqar. The first line clearly refers to the deaths of Cersei's children, and considering that Joffrey has already bit the bullet at this point, this leaves only Tommen and Myrcella, who according to Maggie will both be crowned before their subsequent death.
No, that's not. I don't think she meant literally Maggie, or why did I say Maggie? Myrcella will be crowned. I think that's just saying that they will be in the succession. I think that's what that means.
And what many would agree is the most crucial element of the prophecy, as it predicts Cersei's own demise, foretells of the Valonqar. What is the Valonqar, you may ask? Well,
it is young brother or young sister.
Of Cersei's at Casterly Rock, it's the High Valyrian word for little brother. And although Cersei is the eldest of her siblings with 2 younger brothers, she has always assumed that the Valonqar refers to Tyrion. So essentially, Maggie's prophecy foretells 3 crucial events, which as of A Dance with Dragons have yet to occur. The first being the appearance of a younger and more beautiful queen who will cast Cersei down and take all that she holds dear. The second being the crowning and subsequent deaths of Cersei's remaining 2 children, Tommen and Myrcella. And the third being the death of Cersei herself at the hands of the Valonqar. So now that we have taken a look at the prophecy itself, let's take a further look and attempt to determine what it's actually implying. First, let's consider the identity of the younger, more beautiful queen.
Like I said, I think Cersei could think this is Sansa at the beginning. Because, you know, Robert's forcing Ned's oldest daughter on to her oldest son. Then, whenever Littlefinger arranges Myrcella, no, fuck, Marjorie. Woo! Anyway.
Now, because Maggie's words are so vague here, and because there are still several other claimants to the Iron Throne, the queen Maggie refers to really could be anyone. But it's important to note that at the start of A Feast for Crows, Cersei is convinced that the younger and more beautiful queen is Margaery Tyrell. But to be fair, although
At that
Cersei's
time,
paranoia is slightly over the top, her beliefs are not
I mean,
completely
Sansa
unfounded.
probably would have been
For instance,
considered
after
that
the
at
death of her
first.
father, Cersei finds a type of gold coin once issued by House Gardner in the cell of the missing jailer, Rugen. Why is this significant? Well, before the War of Conquest, House Gardner were kings of the Reach, and House Tyrell were merely their stewards. The gold coin, which is found in Rugen's cell, is from that time period. When presented with this coin, Cersei immediately recalls that Lady Olenna Tyrell is known for keeping these coins and reputedly still uses them, as they look similar to but way less than gold dragons, the current currency in Westeros, and therefore allow her to rip off various merchants in King's Landing. Now we know that Rugen is actually one of Varys' disguises, and in the final chapter of A Dance with Dragons, Varys admits that he has been purposely sowing the seeds of tension and animosity between houses Lannister and Tyrell. Now, of course, those of you who are up to date with A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons, you will know that Cersei's tumultuous relationship with Margaery has led to her upcoming trial, in which both Cersei and Margaery face the possibility of execution. If Cersei's champion is defeated in her trial by combat, it's likely that due to the various charges against her such as murder, treason, and fornication, both her children and Jaime could possibly face persecution. With all this being said, however, George R.R. Martin has recently commented on the Maggie the Frog prophecy, stating the following. Now, I don't know about
Yeah, prophecies tricky because the way it's like prophecy is like kind of like how say the prophecy of the prince that was promised, or the long night, or the ice of fire, or you know, all the different prophecies in the world of Westeros, and Song of Ice and Fire. So prophecy is very tricky. It's also very generally like misconstrued for what it says and what it actually like means. And like it could be misunderstood because it's kind of like Bran, or how during House of Dragon this season with Daemon, and how he was having his visions and stuff with Alicent, either drugging him or, you know, it's the actual the werewoods, which I think it was a combination of both. I think she definitely drugged Damon, I think. Especially whenever it comes to whenever he first came to Harrenhal. And like whenever he was having all those weird ass dreams, I think a lot of those weird ass dreams were the werewood. But I also think that Alicent has somewhat faculty over what he sees, or you know, I don't know. I think she has something to do with the children. I don't know if she's like the three-eyed raven before Brynden Rivers, or if she's just some witch type of, you know, like Children of the Forest, you know, oh god type of parishioner. So I'm not quite sure, but I think she may be the three-eyed raven, possibly, before. So, yeah, I think she could be a part of the Three-Eyed Raven crew. What do you think? Anybody out there? What's your thoughts on Three-Eyed Raven? Is Alicent Rivers Three-Eyed Raven? What is she related to the Three-Eyed Raven? Is she disciple or somebody that's used for purposes? But interesting.
But to me this makes things even more ambiguous and vague. For instance, George alludes that the prophecy will possibly come true, but in an unexpected way. And so this could rule out Margaery as a possible red herring to both Cersei and the reader. But then he goes on to mention that Cersei could possibly unconsciously fulfill the prophecy in her efforts to avoid it, which, due to the current state of affairs, does seem to place Margaery as the most likely of candidates. However, seeing as the outcome of Cersei's trial and her position in King's Landing are uncertain, this still leaves a few other options for the role of the younger queen. The first of these would be Daenerys Targaryen.
That's eventually who is the answer.
Younger queen in A Song of Ice and Fire.
I just don't know how Valonqar. I don't see how Valonqar, like, choking and all that. Like, I know he's got the metal hand, and it's like, you know, he's trying to find her, and they get buried together. I'm just like I don't. I liked whenever he was like, you know what, I'm sick of your shit. And he got to the point, I thought he was going to get to the point whenever she blew up fucking the sept. But he actually fucking, he pulled away And then, like, at the end of the deal, he's like, oh, fuck, I gotta go to her. And Tyrion's like, go for her, bro. Go for her, bro. But, you know, I don't know, man. Just
Seated hatred for the Lannisters. Jaime would likely be the first to go as he's responsible for her father's death, whereas it's probable that Dany could show mercy to Cersei and simply imprison her. But although Dany would certainly remove Tommen from the throne and Myrcella from the line of succession, it's unlikely that she would kill or even harm Cersei's children. The reason for this being that Dany has
I think
often
they're
viewed
already
children as
dead.
being the innocent bystanders of war and conflict. And during her stint in Meereen, she had become accustomed to taking the children of prominent noble families as hostages in the form of cupbearers. And so it's likely she'll do the same.
Why would
with Tommen
you
and Myrcella, and
have him
it's
as your
not the goal that
cupbearer?
these children necessarily have to die
'Cause then they
at the
can
hands of the
poison
beautiful,
you.
beautiful Queen. It could just be that taking Tommen and Myrcella away from Cersei would be punishment enough. But the major spanner in this theory is that apart from it being far too obvious of a choice, Cersei's downfall seems too imminent, and it's unlikely that Dany will reach Westeros in such a short span of time. In truth, her entire story arc
So who the fuck do you think is the younger queen? I mean, I think Cersei thinks it's different people throughout the time of her life. I think she sees any challenge. But
seems to be leading up to something much more significant, and we see this in the vision of the House of the Undying, in which it's implied that Dany will most likely not sit on the Iron Throne, and so it's unlikely that she will fulfill the role of the younger, more beautiful queen. However, there are a few other more minor characters who could possibly most of these would be Sansa Stark. Now, there are a few obvious reasons for this choice. For instance, Sansa does have several reasons for wanting to cast down Cersei, the murder of her father, mother, and brother, for starters. Not to mention that Sansa's no longer the timid and naive girl she once was. In truth, she's more adept at playing the Game of Thrones, making her a more
wouldn't it be kind of ironic that Sansa would have been the first, the first potential wife of Joffrey, while he's, king, and then he basically casts her aside for Marjorie, and she kind of goes off of Cersei's radar, probably with regards to this particular, situation with who the younger, more beautiful queen is that will, take everything.
Cersei Lannister. And it's also becoming very likely that Sansa will become queen in the north. And with queenship comes bannerment. So if Queen Sansa and her northern army were to march on King's Landing, naturally there would be severe consequences for House Lannister. And in regards to Jaime, for those of you who are up to date on Jaime's story arc, you will know that Jaime is in many ways trying to fulfill the oath he made to Catelyn Stark. So if Jaime were to somehow meet up with Sansa and pledge allegiance to her,
Brienne,
it would result in another major blow to Cersei. Another possible queen would be Arianne Martell. Because those of you who are up to date on the whole Aegon Targaryen plotline, you will know that towards the end of Dance with Dragons, Aegon has landed in Westeros and has requested for the allegiance of House Dorne. Now, Prince Doran Martell has expressed his desire for vengeance, fire, and blood before. I mean, just take a look at this epic quote. In fact, Doran has already sent out Arianne to investigate Aegon's claim on his behalf. And if Arianne does determine Aegon to be the son of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen and Alia Martell, it's likely that she will offer her hand in marriage.
It's not him.
If Aegon plans on securing Dorne's allegiance
fake Aegon
throne, it's likely that he will need to award Dorne's loyalty with a marriage alliance. Hence the very likely possibility of Arianne becoming Aegon's queen. However, although Arianne could be responsible for casting Cersei down, it is unlikely that Arianne's arrival would be responsible for the breakdown of Cersei's relationship with Jaime or the death of her children. So overall, although Arya
I think the death of her children happened the way that it fucking. I think the death of her children happened the way that it fucking happened in the show, basically. I think Tommen jumps after Cersei blows up the Sept. And I think Marcella's killed by the sand snakes. And the paramour and all that.
Be a future queen. She doesn't fulfill Maggie's prophecy absolutely. Which then leads us to our next and final choice, Jeyne Westerling. Now, due to her current circumstances, Jeyne is probably the most uncertain out of all the choices for the younger, more beautiful queen. But for those of you who are only familiar with the Game of Thrones
Isn't that
HBO series,
John's or
in an act to avoid any further offense to Lord Walder Frey, did not actually accompany Robb to the twins, but you're
right. That's the wife of Robb.
The Red Wedding. As with Robb's death, the Stark stronghold on the north ceased to exist. And although there still remains
I know she. From what I understand, the epilogue. I think that's the right chapter. The one that's before, like the first chapter of the book. Prequel, or no, not preamble. Is that the word? Maybe preamble. I know there's a preamble to the Constitution, but so from what I understand, the first chapter in Winds of Winter is going to involve Westerly and the Blackfish. And I think the POV is supposed to be, I think it's the Blackfish who's the POV. But
such men would only be willing to pledge fealty to a Stark. Which brings me to one of the great points of contention and dispute in A Song of Ice and Fire. Is Jeyne Westerling pregnant? To be honest, at this point, we can't be sure. For instance, in A Feast for Crows,
I think she might be.
Despite Jeyne and Robb's numerous
yeah, I think she might be, but again, don't know.
Attempts to conceive an heir, Sybil Westerling, Jeyne's mother, under the guise of aiding her with fertility potions, had actually been giving her moon tea, a very effective contraceptive. According to Sybil, this betrayal was orchestrated with Tywin Lannister, with the understanding that in return for cooperation, the Westerlings would receive a full pardoning for allying with Robb Stark and advantageous marriages for all their children. Now, regarding Sybil herself, there is one weird coincidence that is worth noting. This being that before her marriage to Gawain Westerling, Sybil was a member of House Spicer, and therefore the granddaughter of Maggie the Frog. Fancy that, huh? And so this could in some strange way tie into the Maggie the Frog prophecy. Perhaps Sybil is aware of the prophecy and therefore also aware that her daughter could one day become the younger, more beautiful queen. But based on the points
I don't see that.
Could assume that
yeah, I don't see Westerly being that. I think it's legitimately Dany. The most obvious answer is generally the correct answer. So I think Dany is the more younger, beautiful queen that will take everything away from her. But I do think that Cersei believes it is Marjorie. For sure.
At this point, Jeyne is most likely not pregnant. Some readers, however, still insist that Jeyne's sister Elena is mysteriously missing during the meeting between the Westerlings and Jaime Lannister, which has led some to theorize that Jeyne and Elena could have been switched, and a pregnant Jeyne is secretly in hiding with Sir Brynden Tully. So, what does Jane's possible pregnancy and escape mean, and how does it relate to the Maggie the Frog prophecy? Well, as stated before, Jane Westerling could possibly be the younger, more beautiful queen, considering that if she is pregnant with
I
Robb
don't
Stark's
think-
heir, the majority of the northern houses, secretly opposed to the Boltons and the Crown, would rise up to her cause to reclaim the North for the Starks.
Yeah, I really don't
And
think
if the
that's the
Blackfish and
case.
Jane Westerling were to succeed in this, it's likely that the remaining aspects of Maggie's prophecy regarding the younger, more beautiful queen would also be fulfilled. For instance, as stated before, Cersei holds most dear power, her children, and her brother Jaime. And if Jane were to reclaim the North for her son, it's likely that a war with the Crown would once again ensue, possibly leading to the removal of Cersei as Queen Regent and the death of her remaining children and Jaime Lannister.
I do think Jaime and Cersei probably die together. But I think he actually does, like, strangle her, though. I don't know if the reason or when, but I just wish George would hurry the fuck up. George, if you see this, please finish the fucking book. Forget about Fire and Blood, or Blood and Fire, whichever one is the version that you're also working on. Just quit procrastinating, man. It's like, ugh. Just hell.
So, to summarize, the most likely of candidates for the younger, more beautiful queen would be either Margaery Tyrell, Sansa Stark, or Arianne Martell. Because although both Daenerys Targaryen and Jane Westerling could...
I don't agree with you not seeing Dany as the one of the main ones. I see Sansa. I don't see Westerling. And the Martell one, I don't see that one either.
Prove to be major threats down the road, their current storylines do not seem to be leading towards fulfilling this role. So now that we have covered the younger
But I mean, fucking in the books, the damn Martells are trying to, like, marry Dany. Because, you know, then he tries to go steal a dragon, and he's reportedly burnt to a crisp and on his deathbed, but we don't really know if he's dead. We haven't seen the body. Let's put it that way. So, is the Martell kid dead, or is he not? Is it somebody else that got burnt and they think it was him? Or is he the one that's actually burnt? And he's a toast cookie right now. But the Lord of Light does something to help him, like, survive or something. I don't know. George is, George will be George. So just finish the damn book, George. I'm ready to buy it on Audible. Or technically, I'm ready to use my free credit, or one of my 6 free credits on Audible. Hashtag not a sponsored ad. Hashtag hit me up Audible. But
beautiful queen, let's take a look at the final and most intriguing aspect of Maggie's prophecy. The foretelling of the Valonqar. Now, if you recall, Maggie made this prophecy after Cersei's 3 questions had been answered. But whereas with the foretelling about the younger, more beautiful queen, we could determine the meaning quite easily, this particular foretelling is much more ambiguous. For instance, every aspect of this prophecy could have several different meanings. The tears, for instance, could literally be referring to Cersei's actual tears, because as prophesied, At this point, she will have lost her children and everything else she holds dear. But the tears could also be referring to the tears of Lys, as Cersei has been known to resort to these desperate measures before, during Stannis' attack on King's Landing. The last part of this prophecy refers to a Valonqar, who will wrap his hands about Cersei's pale throat and choke the life from her. So let's once again begin with the two most obvious choices, Cersei's two younger brothers, Tyrion and Jaime Lannister. Tyrion is Cersei's personal choice for the Valonqar, and has been for many years, possibly even...
Yeah, that's true. It's like from his birth, I believe, he believes that he is the one, especially whenever he treats Joffrey the way he does and the way he talks to Cersei. Like when Joffrey's being an evil little shit. And yeah, so I think she definitely thinks it's Tyrion, but I do think it's Jaime.
From the time of his
or it's Jaime, or somehow in a weird way it's Valonqar is just referring to a general little brother or little sister because of the gender neutralness of Valyrian or High Valyrian. So instead of Tyrion and Jaime being the victim or the perpetrator, you have two different potential Valonqars. Cersei is pregnant. Now, whenever she talks to Maggie about the Valonqar, or not the Valonqar, but will we have children, i.e. the king, 6 + 10 for him and 3 for you. You know, gold would be the crowns, gold were the shrouds, and basically the Valonqar part that we're at right now. So if you take Valonqar just to mean in general little brother or little sister, not your little brother or your little sister, but a little brother or little sister, you can have Arya, the person that is killing Cersei. Oh, before I watched the series and watched what they did to the end of the story, and Arya with the faceless men and you know, her whole arc with regards to the end with Cersei and Dany and King's Landing, and her being a faceless man, and she, you know, killed Walder and stole his face and then kill his kin to enact revenge upon House Frey from House Stark in the north. So with the way that Jaime came to Winterfell and was basically accepted and vouched for by like Brienne and like, you know, Tyrion and everybody, and Jon's just like, you know, hey, we need the fucking bodies. Grey Worm didn't trust him. Dany doesn't trust him. But Sansa only trusts him because Brienne's trusting him. Jon's just like, we need the bodies, and he's decent with the sword. So, what if the Valonqar, instead of Jaime or Tyrion, it's actually the supposed baby that she's pregnant with after, around the war for the night and all that, the Night King War and all that. Whenever, she kind of tells Tyrion and Jaime, like, oh, I'm pregnant, like, convenient, I don't know if she's actually pregnant. Kind of curious if that'd be in the book or not. Well, I would assume it would be in the book if it actually was true. But I really don't think she was pregnant. I think she was capping. I think she was trying to get Jaime back more. Because he seemed like he kind of left her at a certain point. It's like, Joffrey dies, he blames him because he, like, in the books, he doesn't get there before Joffrey dies. He gets there after. So it's like, I think she kind of blames him for that, and then he lost his hand, and and then he breaks Tyrion out, and then Tyrion kills Tywin. So she blames Jaime for, releasing Tyrion because he killed the father. So, what if it's the baby? I don't know. Because, prophecies in Westeros, or prophecies in the entire world of Game of Thrones universe, let's put it that way, are very, very, very user biased, I guess. It's like they get shown something and there's no context. There's nothing. They see something and they have to interpret it. It's like with the fires and things with Melisandre. And she's like, oh, I see Stannis fighting with the flaming sword, blah, 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 blah. But, she probably seen that. But what actually happened isn't what she interpreted was happening.
And this is likely due to the unfortunate circumstance that as Tyrion arrived into the world, his mother exited. And this event probably led Cersei to very early on associate Tyrion with death and misfortune, leading the relationship between Cersei and Tyrion to be overly strained and difficult, to the point where they both begin to account the other for every misfortune that happens to befall them. And it also doesn't help Tyrion's case that he made this little threat a while ago.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about, whenever he's talking to her about whatever, she does something with Shay, I think, or that woman they thought was Shay, but really wasn't Shay. It was Rosalind. Wasn't that Rosalind? That Joffrey and Cersei kind of basically fuck up, because, or is that Cersei only? I know Joffrey does that. The prostitute that Tyrion, like, quote unquote, gets him to like have him, quote unquote, like blow off some steam, I guess, kind of thing, and he fucking uses her for target practice. Well, no. The first, no, that's wrong. My bad. Yeah. The bitch he gets from Tyrion, the prostitute, that's the one that he spanks the fuck out of. And like Tyrion like has to apologize, like, I'm really sorry. I think he might have even sodomized her too. Joffrey was a terrible fucking person. But yeah. Yeah, and then he did the crossbow to Rosalind, who they thought was Shay, I believe.
But if we once again recall George's words, and so Tyrion's part in Cersei's death could once again be Cersei's own doing. And to be honest, it already seems to be heading in that direction in many ways, once again becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy, as throughout Tyrion's point of view chapters in A Dance with Dragons.
I was going to say also another Valonqar is Arya. Obviously, little sister. But if she actually takes out the Night King, I don't think she could take out both the Night King and Cersei and get the ace for the squad match. So if she does get the Night King in the book, like she did on the show, I don't think he could be the one that also gets Cersei. But kind of what you can think, like a way that it's like, one, she can sneak up on her during the whole, like, when the Hound tells her, like, you need to fucking leave or you're gonna die here. And you know, I think she could maybe sneak up on Cersei or whatever and, you know, choke her out, whatever. But if Jaime wasn't so like I don't know, so like at the time that the attack on King's Landing happens, in the show at least, he had fallen away from Cersei, like whenever he went up north and helped them, and then he comes back and like she kills Missandei, but yet he still goes back to her. I don't understand why he would go back. I mean, I understand, you know, hey, it's your sister, you know, you love her, it's your baby mama, you know. So I almost kind of think it's the kid the baby. But I can see Jaime. I can see Jaime doing it. I can see Arya doing it. And be even more classic if she stole Jaime's face and strangled Cersei with Jaime's face on.
He states a number of times how much he would like to kill not only Cersei but Jaime as well. And so, as with Melara and perhaps even Margaery, Cersei could once again lead this prophecy to fulfill itself. Now, although Tyrion certainly seems to fit nicely with the prophecy, as with Margaery fulfilling the role of the younger queen, the drawback is that it's just too obvious. Which leads us to a few other options. The first of which would be Cersei's other little brother, Jaime Lannister. Now, for those of you who only watch the HBO series, Jaime is probably
coming out by hold on to her toe.
As is the case for Cersei, as her hatred of Tyrion and entitled beliefs regarding Jaime lead her to completely overlook him. Whereas for those of you who have read Jaime's several point of view chapters in A Feast for Crows, you will know that Jaime's perceptions of Cersei have changed dramatically, leading up to a final breaking point in which he decides not to come to her aid during one of her most desperate moments. We also know that in Jaime's final point of view chapter in A Dance with Dragons, we see him leaving Riverrun with Brienne, possibly being led into a trap set up by Lady Stoneheart and the Brotherhood Without Banners. Now, it could be that Jaime will join forces with Lady Stoneheart and the Brotherhood, if he is somehow spared, which I know is unlikely, but bear with me here. And this could then lead to Jaime utilizing the Lannister army and restoring the Riverlands to Tully rule. And although Jaime has done some pretty immoral things in his past, you know, the whole pushing a child out a window.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how the whole Jaime and Brienne stories will end up in the book with Lady Stoneheart basically getting Brienne to trick Jaime into being captured by Lady Stoneheart and her Brotherhood Without Banners little side group. It's going to be interesting how the book, George, please, for the love of the seven gods and the O gods and the Lord of Light, finish fucking Winds of Winter.
Lying to Tyrion about Tisha, raping his sister, that kind of thing. He also has shown to have a very strong moral compass when being faced with some very difficult situations.
Moral compass? The guy that has sex with his sister? Moral compass? The guy who killed his king whenever he was the Kingsguard? Moral compass? Yeah, Jaime is like the moral compass of a guy that pushes a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old or whatever Bran was out of the window. Moral fucking compass? What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck, yo? That's crazy.
So as he becomes aware of Cersei's actions, it could be that he will feel compelled to act and end the suffering of the people.
Just because you make one good decision doesn't mean you're fucking like your past is like forgotten and forgiven.
With all this being said, however, there is the slight issue where Jaime only has one hand. And if we look closely at Maggie's words, the prophecy clearly states his hands being plural. And although it's not necessary...
Come on now. Come on now. Like he couldn't wrap his damn gold-gloved hand around her throat. It does have an open... Hell, he caught that one sword.
decide that these must be actual hands rather than artificial hands, these hands would still require the Valonqar to effectively choke the life out of Cersei. And as we know from the various descriptions of Jaime's golden hand, it does not seem capable of doing a lot, much less being used to strangle someone to death. With all this...
Challenge accepted. Find me one, I will choke somebody with it. It's not that hard to press your fucking metal hand against somebody's jugular or their windpipe and fucking choke them out. Not that fucking hard. It's probably actually fucking easier.
This being said, however, although there seems to be quite a hefty amount of textual support for Jaime being the Valonqar, Jaime's story arc seems to be leading him towards a very tumultuous meeting with Lady Stoneheart, of which the outcome at this point is uncertain. But if Lady Stoneheart
she should have totally like fucking actually used a Lady Stoneheart like artwork from somebody instead of this like stock Catelyn Stark photo.
Decides to spare Jaime's life, it is unlikely to be out of empathy, but for Jaime to serve a greater purpose. And this could either be to find her daughters or to kill Cersei Lannister in order to spare Brienne's life. If, however, Jaime does not survive his meeting with Lady Stoneheart, it would certainly be apt considering Cersei's upcoming trial if their deaths were to be closely timed together, as their births once were. This outcome, however, would still leave open the role of the Valonqar, in which case there are a few more options we could consider.
I kind of wonder with the Valonqar prophecy part of it, how it says your pale white throat, and he will wrap his hands around your pale white throat and choke the life out. Pale white throat, does that mean she's already dead?
The first of these being Stannis Baratheon. Now, apart from the obvious reasons for this option, such as his relentless quest for the Iron Throne and his hatred for the Lannisters, the foretelling of the prophecy does not mention that the Valonqar must be Cersei's own brother, and therefore this opens up the identity.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going off with, but I don't know about Stannis though.
But apart from this, an interesting point to acknowledge is that Maggie's words regarding the Valonqar immediately follow her foretelling about Robert and Cersei's children. It is likely that the Valonqar could possibly be motivated by the illegitimacy of Cersei's children, rather than just being some random add-on prophecy foretelling Cersei's death. And if we recall, it was indeed Stannis who originally suspected the illegitimacy of Cersei's children. And if
What are you talking about? Fucking Ned had ravens sent to Stannis. What? I think that's in book and TV show. Yeah. Like, fucking Ned had ravens sent whenever he was Hand of the King before he approached Cersei and threatened her with the knowledge. Because, I mean, even Stannis acknowledged it whenever he was talking to Jon at Castle Black.
if we look at the current state of affairs in Westeros, Stannis is looking very likely to win the Battle of Winterfell. And so with the North in the bag, it is likely that Stannis will continue south to King's Landing. And although
Stannis isn't going to King's Landing, because Stannis ain't leaving the North. He's dying at the Battle of Winterfell, the first Battle of Winterfell, with the Boltons versus Stannis. The weather fucks him up. Ramsay has people set the camp on fire. Stannis doesn't make it out of the north.
Has previously failed to take King's Landing, with Jaime currently being MIA, the deaths of both Tywin and Kevin Lannister, and the entirety of the Lannister forces currently camping in the Riverlands. This leaves Cersei and the Lannister rule in King's Landing very vulnerable. The only drawback to this theory, however, seems to be that not only is Stannis currently tied up in the north, but he also seems to have had a bit of a midlife crisis, in which he has decided that his place is in the north in the role of Azor Ahai.
Is she only basing this on the books, period? Because, I mean, you know, Melisandre sees it because, you know, he's about to have Davos killed for treason. After he, you know, when he gets back, you know, and tries to, you know, fuck with Melisandre and all that.
Defeat the others. And so if and when he does decide to head south, Cersei may already be dead, which then leads us to our final candidate for the Valonqar, Sandor Clegane, the Hound. So by now most of you have probably heard of the Gravedigger theory, which claims that Sandor Clegane, after suffering his various injuries in his fight at the inn, or if you only watch the show, his fight with Brienne, did not actually die but was discovered by the elder brother from the Quiet Isle and nursed back to health. And it's at the Quiet Isle where he now resides, disguised as a gravedigger. But how does this all tie into Maggie's prophecy? Well, those of you up to date with Cersei's point of view chapters in A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons will know that Cersei currently faces a trial by combat and has chosen Sir Robert Strong as her champion. Now, it's pretty safe to say that Sir Robert Strong is really Sir Gregor Clegane, also known as the Mountain, as it's assumed that Qyburn practices necromancy and has transformed Gregor into Frankenstein for Cersei. And as mentioned earlier, because the prophecy does not state that the Valonqar must be Cersei's own brother, this
I don't.
Sandor Clegane, the younger brother of
I really don't.
Clegane,
I don't.
fulfilling the role.
I don't see that either. I'd have Arya being the Valonqar because Valonqar is gender neutral. All High Valyrian is gender neutral. The prince that was promised can also be the princess that was promised. Little brother can also mean little sister.
Now, if the Gravedigger really is the Hound and has therefore been hiding out in a monastery, it's possible that he may have turned to religion.
Gravedigger is the Hound.
Compelled to defend the faith. And perhaps when learning of Sir Robert Strong's appearance, he will instinctively know it could only be his brother. However, the slight issue with this option is the question of whether becoming the Faith's champion, Sandor would actually be fulfilling the role of the prophecy. Because although he may succeed in actually killing his brother, Gregor Clegane, his defeat would only result in sentencing Cersei to death, and so he would not actually be directly killing her. So, to sum things up, the most likely candidates for the younger and more beautiful queen would either be Margaery Tyrell or Sansa Stark, whereas the most likely candidates for the Valonqar are probably either Tyrion or Stannis. This being because although both Margaery and Tyrion are both overly obvious,
I think Margaery is who Cersei believes is the younger, more beautiful. I think in the end is Dany. In the Valonqar, I think is either Jaime or Arya. Now, is that with Jaime's face or not with Jaime's face? I'm not sure. But I think that's what it is.
choices, George R.R. Martin has implied that in her attempts to hinder the prophecy, Cersei might actually fulfill Maggie's prophecy. But if this is not the case, Sansa and Stannis would be my second choices, based on their motivations, character arcs, and current circumstances. With all this speculation aside, however, there's also the debate of the prophecy itself. There seem to be quite a few in A Song of Ice and Fire, but none have yet to fully come true. And so the question remains, will Maggie's prophecy be fulfilled, or will Cersei succeed in her attempts in altering her future? So that's it for the Maggie the Frog prophecy for now, but as it's one of the few prophecies that David and Dan have decided to really focus on, I'm sure we'll be seeing more of it in the upcoming episodes of Season 5. But until then, feel free to let me know your opinions and thoughts on the prophecy in the comments below.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on the whole prophecy. And then, like, you know, they said, you know, prophecy isn't factual. It's an interpretation of what they experienced during the prophecy. Like, Maggie sees things about Cersei's future, but doesn't know the exact, like, circumstances or details of what's happening in the vision, what she's interpreting. Hmm. Yeah, no, I'm good on watching that one. 26 minutes. It's like, cause it's like the first Men War was with the Children of the Forest. The Long Night was Children of the Forest trying to stop the First Men, and then the Andal arrival. I don't know what that next one's about. Rhonish Wars, I remember. Century of Blood, that has to do with the free cities. That the Crown assisted, I think Aegon or Aegon's predecessor joined with it was the Triarch, either the Triarch or like the free cities. Can't remember exactly. Sure, you can watch the video and find out yourself. Jadon Films. He did it. But it's like Aegon's conquest, the Faith Uprising, that had to do with that was Is that Magor or either Magor ain't, because I don't think Jaehaerys, I don't think it happened during King Jaehaerys's reign, because he was known as the, you know, the king that ruled peace. About the Stepstone War, that's Hot D Season 1. House of the Dragon, or Dance of the Dragons, which is what they're currently doing. The Dornish Conquest, that's because, like, the Seven Kingdoms aren't technically Seven Kingdoms. Dorne is still independent. Blackfire Rebellion, that's King Aegon the 4th or 5th. Might be King Aegon the 5th. That's Blackfire Rebellion. He is a terrible fucking king. Bastards and legitimized them and gave Blackfire the sword to his preferred bastard child, who was the one that created House Blackfire at that point in time. And then they fought, which, I mean, dragons are already gone. Dragons are all gone before the Dornish Conquest. Dragons are gone after the dance, because the king that, after all that, is the one that basically has the last dragon. Sure. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they...
So, I was binging Game of Thrones for like the 8th time, as you do, and what stood out to me this time around was how much lore and development gets brushed under the rug. I asked myself, just how many plot lines were introduced but ultimately abandoned? To answer these questions, I did what any sane person would and dedicated a few months of my life compiling a list outlining them all. If you like what you see, help the channel grow by liking, commenting,
yeah.
and...
Don't forget to go visit Culture Vulture and watch and like and comment yourself. Don't just take my video for the direct viewage of it. It's content.
This is every abandoned plotline in Game of Thrones.
Let's see what he has. Littlefinger's arc.
From murdering Jon
How?
Arryn to pitting the Starks against the Lannisters to killing Joffrey, without Littlefinger, there is no Game of Thrones. Something people tend to forget is that Peter Baelish wasn't just a baller, he was also very much a player with a bid for the Iron Throne as good as anyone else's.
What do you...
He's not getting on the Iron Throne unless he married somebody that's planning on getting on the Iron Throne. And I don't know. I don't think they abandoned plotline, because he's like working with Sansa, trying to, you know, get in with her.
You want?
Oh, everything, my dear. Everything there is.
That's Rosalind, isn't it?
What do you want?
Every time I'm faced with a decision, I close my eyes and see the same picture. A picture of
Me with you.
on the Iron Throne. And you by my side.
It's a pretty picture.
Of course.
That picture was hilarious. Just
What people do remember is his groundbreaking theory of chaos equals MC ladder, but by season 6, that's out the window too, as Littlefinger subjects himself to Sansa, creating no chaos, just enjoying his place at court like the good little lady he was never meant to be.
You will marry a High Lord and rule this castle.
Now, had he at least had a whiff of the Iron Throne before seeing it snatched away from under his nose, that would have been a proper way for him to go. Not this.
Sansa.
I don't know. I think that ending is well deserved.
I beg you.
His disappointing end undermines a...
I just don't see how that's an abandoned plot line. You just really think that he's getting past, like, that part of the story? You think he's actually getting past the part of the Long Night? I don't think he survives to the Long Night.
A lot of the tension the show spent years building up. No less his and Olenna's plot to kill Joffrey, a secret which, if it came out, would set half the realm against him.
Together we murdered a king. If my house should fall, I will have nothing to hide.
But that didn't happen. And when Baelish
Yeah,
dies,
she didn't
it doesn't
snitch.
leave anywhere near
Yeah, she didn't snitch on him. I mean, Bran knows.
the sort of void
Or Bran can
other
find
major
out.
deaths did. After their ancient purpose of protecting the realm from what lies beyond the wall is rendered obsolete, the Night's Watch is still a thing for some reason.
There's still Night's Watch.
The show even comments on this without providing answers. Why is it still a thing? What are they protecting the realm from now that the White Walkers are destroyed, the Wildlings are friends, and the Ice Spider's not a thing in the first place?
Rumpkins and snarks.
Oh yeah, can't wait for snow season 1.
That was abandoned.
When it comes to the White Walker symbol, some speculate that the circle is a heart and the line is a sword, symbolizing the sacrifice required to defeat them. Notice also how the pin of the Hand of the King and Sansa's necklace in later seasons have the same shape. Coincidence? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess. Then we've got this spiral, the same...
Yeah, I don't quite understand the spirals and stuff, but then they kind of show up also in Dragonstone's caves. So
same pattern as can be seen made by the Children of the Forest, which is obviously a cool connection, seeing as the children were the ones to create the walkers in the first place. But it kind of stops there. Presumably, the symbolism is that of history repeating itself, but apart from the tragedy of Hodor, this never actually becomes significant, and we're left
or Hodor.
asking why the White Walkers would go out of their way to leave these symbols behind at all.
It's a message.
No history
And
is
he's
ever
still
repeated,
alive.
so what was the point? Was it a
Or-
warning? Was it an expression of childhood trauma through modern art? Well, either way, one cool turn of events could have been to see the eternal rivalry between the Three-Eyed Raven and the Night King come full circle somehow. Maybe by one hive mind spirit overtaking the other.
I'm sorry I wasn't there when you needed me.
You were exactly where you were supposed to be.
Wait a minute.
Circle somehow. Maybe by one hive mind spirit overtaking
Did his
the
eyes turn blue? In the real... Hold on. This might be. Kind of looks like the same thing he's wearing. Kind of that. Because this is like after, whenever he has to go back to Castle Black, and he's kind of saying deuces to the fam before they send off Grey Worm and all them leave. Just Grey Worm's giving him the stink eye there. Grey Worm's like, he should be my prisoner. Yeah, I guess that already happened. Sansa, Arya, I'm going west of west. Okay. There we go.
We're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Okay. That was edited.
Sorry I wasn't there when you needed me.
You were exactly where you were supposed to be.
Was not like that. That was edited. Thought that'd been crazy if that was actually in it. Like somehow the Night King like entered Bran after he died.
But that wasn't the case, so... When Mirri Maz Duur said that Daenerys' womb would quicken only when...
The sun rises in the west, sets in the east, when the seas go dry.
There actually is, there are examples that happen that describe all the conditions that Daenerys has happened to her. And it's kind of interesting, you know.
When the mountains blow in the wind, like leaves.
It sounded like a fancy way of saying never. But when Jon brings this up again in season 7, I have to wonder why the show reopened this plotline only to go nowhere with it.
I can't have children.
Who told you that?
The witch who murdered my husband.
Has it occurred to you she might not have been a reliable source of information?
Like, if Jon had made Daenerys pregnant, she says that would be... But this obviously doesn't happen, so
Name that tune.
Jon Snow.
The Equation.
Right. Aegon Targaryen, the Song of Ice and Fire himself.
I don't want it.
The long-standing mystery of Jon Snow's true parents and heritage is one
Technically,
of the great plot lines and plot twists of our time. And
egg
being
on
thrown
this.
right
What is he?
out
The
the
egg on
window
the
has
6th,
got to
egg
be
on
up
the
there with some of
7th.
the biggest disappointments in television history.
If he became king.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get on to you in a minute. Not only did they abandon decades of mystery and build-up, but also an entire social dynamic that should be there, seeing as he's king in the north and dating his aunt. The Northern Lords should quite...
But I mean, Targaryens are known for, you know that, and they kind of didn't know. So, you know, I mean, I don't plan on marrying a unknown aunt that I would have, but you know, if you don't know, I mean,
literally be up in arms about having crowned a Targaryen, especially with so many of them having personally been part of Robert's rebellion against the mad Targaryen King Aerys not 2 decades prior. But hey, who wants to see intrigue like that anyway? So, if not Jon, then who is Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, aka the title of the book?
I think the dragons are Azor Ahai. Or Dany riding the dragons is Azor Ahai. I think Jon is the prince that was promised. I think Dany is Azor Ahai.
Series the show is based on.
Stannis was not the prince who was promised, but someone has to be.
I don't want it.
The prophecy was first brought up in Season 2 with Stannis, flaming swords and all.
Stannis Baratheon, warrior of light.
Then it was Daenerys.
Daenerys Stormborn is the one who...
Oh, what the hell? Damn it.
was promised.
Then it was Jon.
It's not Jon Snow now.
He's the prince that was promised.
Then it became a contemporary American gender debate.
That noun has no gender in High Valyrian, so the proper translation for that prophecy would be the prince or princess who was promised.
And by the time the White Walkers rolled by...
You kind of forgot.
Okay, so this is kind of the big...
Now, Dan and Dave wanted to get the fuck out of Dodge and go do their fucking Star Wars movie. So they kind of fucking just was like, let's just get this shit over with. Because they probably should have done like 2 more seasons. But they wanted to get the fuck off of the show because they've been doing it for like 10 years already. Because like they had, or maybe even longer than that. Fuck. Because, I mean, there was a couple seasons where it was like a year between seasons, like 2 years between seasons. Like season 7 and season 8, I know had 2 years between it. And I think from season 6 to season 7 had 2 years.
Balancing the act of evil Prince Charming and savior of thousands, Jaime is asked the real questions time and time again.
Who are you? And what do you want?
When you hear them whispering Kingslayer behind your back, doesn't it bother you?
If your precious Renly commanded you to kill your own father and stand by while thousands of men, women, and children burned alive, would you have done it?
Is that what you tell yourself at night?
But despite the super satisfying trajectory of a bad man who actually cares deep down, the writers abandoned all of that to the benefit of a romance nobody asked for, only to go back on it and have him die with Cersei.
Yeah, I really don't understand this whole U-turn. It's like he fucking kind of fucks with like Brienne, you know, gives into that whole thing. He's, you know, they had kind of an intimacy when they were traveling together, and, you know, especially after he lost his hand, she was real empathetic for him. And I mean, she even vouched for him in when he came up to Winterfell to Sansa, basically, like, you know, like, I vouch for this dude because, you know, he helped keep my virtue, like my maiden. You know, he conned the Bolton people that, you know, the Sapphire Islands and all that, you know. And then after Roose sent him to King's Landing, he went back and saved her from the bear. So, you know, they had their own little, you know, intimacy part. You know, it's just, I don't know.
Anyway, if anything, his trajectory suggested that he could have been the Valonqar who would wrap his hands around Cersei's neck and choke the life from her, coming full circle as the Kingslayer by standing up for the people by killing yet another oppressive tyrant. Alas, 8 seasons of build-up straight down the drain.
Sure.
Thousands of men, women, and children burned alive.
To be honest, I never really cared much for them, innocent or otherwise.
Clever editing there.
Tyrion's kind nature is tested consistently by his family, the establishment, and pretty much everyone else, which eventually sees him snap in Season 4, setting him on a path of hate and revenge.
I wish I had enough poison.
I mean, come on. They're fucking pinning the murder of the king on him, even though they all know he didn't do it. It's just, you know. And then they just fucking had Shay, they turned Shay on him. You know, and then the ultimate betrayal, you know, obviously, whenever she's fucking with Tywin afterwards.
For the whole pack of you, I would gladly give my life.
By far the best, one of the best speeches in the whole series. At least one of my favorite speeches, like hype-wise, because oh my god, he goes ham on this speech.
To watch you all swallow it.
I'm guilty. I wish to confess. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, I wish to confess. What's that, Lord Tyrion? You wish to confess? Yes, Father. I wish to confess. You wish to confess for killing the king? No. I did not do that. I wish to confess for being a dwarf. You're not on trial for being a dwarf, Tyrion. I've been on trial my entire life for that. Oh my god, the fact that I remember that much of the dialogue from that scene is hilarious to me, I think.
Season 5, however, Tyrion immediately goes back on all of that and derails from this trajectory. In fact, all we get from Tyrion from Season 5 onwards is a series of uncharacteristically bad decisions, shunning what could have been the reverse journey of his brother Jaime. Oh, and cock jokes. Don't forget the cock jokes.
At least your balls won't freeze off. Because you're no. If I lost my I'd drink all the time. It's even better luck to suck a dwarf's.
Because I have balls, and you don't.
I love the little balls jokes he's
Big
always
part of
fucking
Game
with
of Thrones
Varys
lore
about.
is the three-eyed raven, the ancient hive mind that lures children into his cave with tinted windows to take over their mortal bodies in order to... Yeah, we don't really know, and therein lies the problem.
You'll never walk again, but you will fly.
Like most people, I thought this
I just think it's kind of
was
fucked.
destined to be a
I do think it's kind of fucked up how they changed the three-eyed raven actor from the end of season 4 to when they reappear in season 6. It's just, you know, bad, like, foresight there. Like, you know, that's such a prominent character. Why would you not have the permanent actor? Because I don't think anything happened to the other one besides he just... I mean, Tommen was replaced. Of course, Tommen is the character or the actor who plays Tommen, the like actual King Tommen, was the same actor who played one of the Lannister kids who was killed by the Karstark during the Battle of the Five Kings. So that's kind of funny. And then like, who else's actor? Dario, or I think that's his name, Dario, from Daenerys, with the like the 5 brothers or the 3 brothers or the whatever army that they were a part of.
Dragon Rider, but the show was content to keep it to some crows here and there. We never learned the true motivations of the Three-Eyed Raven and the nature of its rivalry with the Night King. Was it...
Well, I mean, obviously, they're both Green Seers. And they're both powerful fucking wargs. It's a battle for life and death. The Night King wants to punish civilization and basically put his spin of everything. And, you know, the Three-Eyed Raven is the you know, the rival to the Night King. Aside from like the Azor Ahai and the Prince that was promised, he's actually a part of the structure that created him. So it's like he almost wants to get back at them for tormenting him with his, you know, what, you know, he's gone through since being converted by the children.
really so shallow as to take the Iron Throne? What about restoring and reintegrating the Children of the Forest? Or, I don't know, something more meaningful?
Children of the Forest are probably all dead. That was probably the most of the last of them. There might be a few on the Isle, the God's Eye. But that's about the only place I think the children are.
Than making Bronn Master of Coin. Also, is there a connection between the Three-Eyed Raven and the Lord of Light? Are they opposing deities, seeing as one sort of created the White Walkers and the other supposedly means to destroy them? Or are they one and...
I think they're all one and the same. I think it's all about how you interpret, you know, how they interpret it. Like the Seven, they see different gods for just the purpose of what they need to pray for that god, you know, to help, you know, them with, or answer forgiveness or whatever. Like the mother, and, you know, they all have their own different structure. And then like the stranger is like death, where there's, you know, the god death also, as a, like with what the House of Black and White kind of worships the god of death. I mean, Syrio Forel kind of implants that into Arya early. I do think Syrio is a faceless man, and he might have been Jaqen, you know, in a different person. And then whenever Marion Trant comes and tries to secure Arya, and he's like, you know, like run now, and you know, he's fighting Marion Trant with a wooden sword, and you know, he basically got disarmed because Marion kind of cut it, but we don't see him die, and he doesn't mention anything about it. Sir Meryn doesn't mention it to anybody that I'm aware of. So it's like, did he die, or was he captured, put in the black cell, conveniently takes his face off, becomes Jaqen H'ghar, gets in with the prisoner sign up with the wall that Ned sets up while he's in the black cells. I think they interacted, and he knew that, I think he knew that Arya would, you know, I don't know. I think he went there to try and, you know, I guess the god of death or whatever can actually like show him something too. You never know. But kind of curious what you guys' thoughts are. But let's go ahead and
the same, showing visions in the flames to some people and whispers in the wind to the others. Guess we'll never know. Another big introduction was the ability to interact with the past, causing time loops. In the books, it is hinted that the snooping Bran himself did not make the sound that alerts Cersei to his presence outside the window, which, after seeing how the young Ned Stark reacts to Bran in the past, implies that the same could be the case in Episode 1. All in order to set Bran on his journey to become the Three-Eyed Raven. But this is, of course, never suggested by the show. Having this could have also given meaning to the White Walker spiral. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a troll on the internet.
I don't know. Some of these I don't even think are abandoned. He just doesn't like how they wrote it.
Who do you truly serve?
Yeah, I'm done with his video. Oh well. All right. Well, I'm starting to get kind of bushed right now, so I think I'm gonna jump off the stream. Stop doing my little Game of Thrones-verse, little chat and video recording and subject talking. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on the VOD or any video that you see that I post or clip out. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out, watching the video. Definitely enjoyed everybody's presence spiritually. Just telepathically, I feel it all. Yeah, spirit fingers, guys. But I will talk at you later today. During NFL football, I might do some baseball and watch the football, but where only I can hear it. Unfortunately, YouTube's being assholes, and the NFL just has stupid. I mean, it's not like I can understand if it's like just demonetize it. All it does is give you more popularity. If people are wanting to watch it, they'll watch it. It's the extra content, but oh well. I'm kind of curious what morning games and afternoon games are local. I generally don't watch the local TV stations, but I might set up. I got like a tablet and 2 cell phones I could set up technically, and then have the baseball game on the big screen. Could probably even log in through the website. I don't know if Windows has a Hulu app. But anywho, you guys be good. Appreciate. See you guys later. Deuces.